Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Come Let Us Reason Together. This is a very, very special 10-part live that we're going to be doing. And it matches right up, complementing our videos that will be shared every Tuesday on my channel that deal with not every voice is God. Not every voice is God. That's a 10-part series. And for the next 10 weeks, Duane and I will be just reasoning about the things shared on each of those videos that will be shared every Tuesday. So if you haven't tuned in yet to this podcast, this is Come Let Us Reason Together. I am your host, Yandea, and joining me, like always, is my friend, my brother, co-host, Duane. Say what's up, Duane.
Hello.
So we're gonna jump right into it. The first episode that I shared, 1 out of 10, is all about the confusion that we're experiencing. And no, you're not crazy, right? Some people think like, is it me or is it just like there's everything, it's like I shared in the video, right? It's like a buffet of um spiritual choices all around us, different frequencies, different vibrations. One person is saying this about that, the other person is saying something totally opposite about the exact same thing. And it's like all around, we're just surrounded by all of these different opinions, perspectives, and practices. And, anyways, so it's easy to be confused in a world where so much stuff, especially spiritual things, are being thrown at you. It's very confusing. And it's very important that we know, one, no, you're not crazy. There is, a lot of things being thrown at you. There are a lot of things being thrown at you. But what does the voice of truth even sound like? How do you even start to discern, which of these things, which of these voices is actually the voice of Most High? Okay, so Duane, you did watch the video. I'm gonna just turn it over to you to share, to share what you got from it, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I watched the video. It was so great as far as just breaking down all of the layers of spiritual fog, that has been like over the spiritual community, and like things that we experience in our daily life. You know, it just nailed so many things right on the head. You know, um, there is this like, there is this like, this way of where people are just like, oh, like I heard this, or spirit said this, or, this is the download that I got today, and all of these different things. And like, how do you know when
Right.
it's true, when it's real, when it's pure, and when it's just like, you know, your trauma response, you not being healed, or you could be getting a message, but now it's filtered through all of the things that you
Right.
haven't worked out yet. So by the time it comes out of you, it's distorted. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
all of these things are factors that we're dealing with on a regular basis. And so, you know, you you don't you're not often able to trust unless you have that like deep grounding within yourself. You've built that relationship of intimacy and everything like that with Most High for you to know what's true, what's pure, for you to be trained for that voice. You know what I mean? To know
Mm-hmm.
what that sounds like, to know the tone of truth and all of that. It's so easy for you to just be swept one way or the other by
Yeah.
different messages that come through. So there were some many like great points that were made, and I wanted to highlight a few of them that kind of stood out to me, and maybe
Okay.
get you, Yan, to like expand on more of them, because I feel like these are things we do need to like dig into and take note of and take inventory of, and really. choose moving forward to deal with it straight up, you know? So when it came to you talking about the tone of truth, you
Mm.
said something about, is it your longing or is it the truth? And
Yeah.
it's so interesting because there is like a deep longing in most humans. And whether we fully understand what that is or what it isn't, how we've interpreted it based on our life experiences, the trauma. So, like, if you went through something when you were childhood, then you're longing for this thing. You seek it through relationships, you seek it through, God Most High, you seek it through all of these different things. And then it's so difficult to know when is this just like it's is it just your longing or is this actual truth because you desire it so
Yes.
much. So I find this to be a major stumbling block for so many people. And even if the longing is coming from a good place in terms of like, oh, I long to be close to God, kind of a thing like that. It could still end up, causing people to lose focus if it's not been thoroughly vetted, if you're not coming from a place of knowing, from a
Yeah.
place of oneness,
Mm-hmm.
because then what that longing looks like. You might think that this is supposed to look a certain way when it really looks another way altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're so focused on it coming a certain way, then you might miss what's actually there for you.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak a bit more about that? Like maybe what are some ways to differentiate between longing and truth, and also sharing more about like the tone of truth?
Well, I think it all starts off with knowing yourself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when I say know yourself, it doesn't mean that in this time when I'm saying knowing yourself, it doesn't mean that you know everything about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As you grow, as you mature, you're gonna find out things about yourself, gifts that you didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that you had, right? Skills,
Mm-hmm.
different things.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm saying know yourself, what I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
is that if we take the time to be silent and to have honest reflection,
Mm-hmm.
right? Honest reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're seeking truth, you have to first start with being truthful to yourself,
Mhm, mhm,
right? And
mhm.
guess what? We can all be truthful to ourselves. And
Yes.
being truthful to yourself looks like, okay, what what are my issues? What have I felt about certain
Mhm,
things in life? Be honest, right? Like someone would want to say, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I do my own thing.
right.
But really and truly, you do care.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
absolutely bothers you when people don't notice you,
Mhm,
when they don't hear you, when you feel
mhm,
like they misunderstand you. It bothers
mhm,
you. So
mhm,
if these are things that are really there, but you're
mhm,
choosing to ignore it. Oh, I don't care if anyone notices me. I don't care if anyone hears me. I
mhm,
once I say it, I believe it, and that's enough, right?
mhm,
If that's what you're saying outwardly, but
mhm.
inwardly, you know that you're hurt when nobody sees you. You step into a
Yeah,
room, you're trying to
yeah,
make friends, no one's acknowledging you.
yeah.
You have an idea in the group or whatever the case is, it never gets chosen. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
You have to be
mhm.
honest.
Yeah.
So if you can be honest with yourself, like, hey, I get offended with this,
Mhm,
I get hurt
mhm,
by that. These are
mhm,
your true actual feelings.
mhm,
So once you could pinpoint the truth about
mhm, mhm,
what actually affects you, what is
mhm,
actually important to you,
mhm,
then let's say you're in a situation now and um, someone comes up to you and someone says, you know, oh wow, like you're really beautiful. I really
mhm,
want you to be a part of my new magazine. I want to put
mhm,
you on the front cover, right?
mhm,
You everything you
mhm,
do is so excellent. I love all your
mhm,
ideas, right? Now,
mhm.
if you are unaware that
Mm,
within yourself you have a
mhm,
deep desire for exactly what just happened. For someone
Yes.
to notice you, to
No.
say all your
Yep.
ideas are great, to whatever,
Yep.
whatever. If you're unaware,
Yep.
because you've been telling yourself, oh, I don't care who notices me, oh, I'm good, right?
Yep.
When that person comes along, that longing that you really have within you is going to be like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, God sent this person.
Yes. Yes.
One of the things I talked about in the video is that
Mhm.
the voice of God doesn't flatter.
Yes.
And it's not to say that let's talk about what I mean there, right? With flattering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people have that need to be seen, to
Mm-hmm.
be valued, to be whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
so easy for anyone to come along and use that exact thing in order to sway you.
Yes. Yes.
So that
Absolutely.
is not going to be a thing that Most High uses.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to
Yes.
be a thing.
Agree.
In your everyday
Agree.
spiritual journey, you're going to feel the love of Most High. But Most High is not going to be using flattering. Most High is not going to butter you up into purpose.
Yes.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
No. Most High will show you the facts about why this is what you're called to do.
Yes.
Right? Spirit doesn't have to pull your heartstrings and play on your emotions in order to get you to move into purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It comes from a very solid, like I said, very calm
Mm-hmm.
voice,
Mm-hmm.
showing you facts over feelings,
Yeah.
seriously, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And moving you into that way. So you will go
Mm-hmm.
with that person like, but they saw me, they heard me, they told me all these things,
Mm-hmm.
it was all love. No,
Mm-hmm.
it was you not realizing that you had these weaknesses, these
Yes.
longings, these
Yes.
unhealed things within you.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
all that person had to do was detect it, use it,
That's
and
right.
trap it.
That's
And
right.
so that's how a lot of people get into
Mm.
relationships, because within themselves, they'll say stuff like, I don't need a man. I'm good all
Mm-hmm.
by myself. Deep
Mm-hmm.
inside, they're crying. They're
Yeah.
longing for a
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
So then you'd find like anyone who comes along who says
Mm-hmm.
the right things,
Yes.
they're with that person, ignoring
Yep.
all the red flags and everything else because that person was able to say the exact thing that they needed them to say. I could think of, for example, and maybe this will be helpful because it's a very specific example that's coming to me,
Mm-hmm.
but you will
Mm-hmm.
have relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I'll give the example. You have women, men too, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a woman, so I'm going to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you
Mm-hmm.
have women who will be married, right?
Mm-hmm.
The husband will do, let's say, 95% of the things he's doing right.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's a 5% of things that he's not doing right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That wife will become upset about the
Mm-hmm.
situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The husband's not, yeah, 95, but I deserve 100. Yeah, you do. You
Yeah.
deserve 100.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? I deserve 100. When they leave that relationship, they leave that marriage, they're
Yeah.
so focused on the 5% that they
Yes.
did not get,
Yes.
that a new partner comes along giving just the 5%.
5%. That's it.
And they're
Yep.
like, oh my gosh, he can dance. He did this. We go on vacation. He tells
Mm-hmm.
me I'm beautiful every day,
Mm-hmm.
right? He buys me things. He
Yes.
remembers my birthday.
Yes.
That's it. That's all he
Yep.
does.
Yep.
And
Nothing else.
love of her life, she's gone. She's in this new relationship.
Yeah.
A little while into it, the ish hits the fan, right?
Yep. Yep.
And then she realizes, wait a minute, I left a man that was giving me 95% for a
Mm-hmm.
man that was giving me 5%.
Right.
Why? Because I was unaware
Mm-hmm.
that this thing inside of me was only 5%. That this, when I say know yourself, you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Know, realize the truth of your life. All
Yes.
of these things are being met. This
Yeah.
is all that's not being met. It that
Mm-hmm.
that little bit is not 100%. That little
Yeah.
bit is 10%.
Yes.
So you have to know yourself, know that you over exaggerate things, know that you put too much weight on issues that are not important.
Yes.
Know that
Yes.
you look to people to love you and to make you feel worthy when you need to do that for yourself. All of
Yes.
these things, know it, know it, know it, know it. See
Yes.
yourself, have a desire to see yourself as you are.
Yes.
So it's not about, I want to hear truth about things outside of me. Have the strongest desire to hear the truth about who you are, why you like the things that, because you need to see your blind spots.
Yes.
Right? You need to be honest about yourself. And when you're honest about yourself, then now you can say, when that voice comes, is this voice being honest also?
Exactly.
Or is it telling me the things that I want to hear because I know I have this little issue over here with this person that I haven't healed yet. I know I have this thing, insecurity about my physical appearance that I'm working on, but it's not fully done yet.
Yes. Yes.
So in that video, I made a comment that a lot of times people, they say, oh, my intuition told me. No, it's not your intuition. It's your trauma. It's all of your unhealed stuff. Right. And so when you are able to heal these areas in your life, then you can say with a real confidence, my intuition.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. That was wonderful. Thank you for breaking that down. That was really good. Okay, so another piece that stood out to me, you were talking about, and this could go both ways in terms of whether you're the one that's delivering the message or whether you're the one that's on the receiving end of the message. But you talked about feeling powerful versus being pure. And that's something that I think is very important because when you like sometimes something can feel like powerful and like overwhelming and like your emotions are in it, there's sensations and energy, like everything, and you just wow, what a powerful message, wow, that's great. But there could be distortion in it that you didn't necessarily pick up on, or like you mentioned, if you have a blind spot towards a certain thing, so that kind of bypassed you. So can you talk a little bit more about, um, that part of it? Because there are people who have charisma, who have a way of words, who have this and that, and can package a message together that feels powerful. You know what I mean? Or you could even like receive an intuitive message, but you're like we mentioned, certain things are not healed, and the message feels powerful, but then is it pure? You know what I mean? What are some of the factors that people need to be aware of for that? And what are some of the best ways to navigate that? Yeah.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is, powerful and pure. So let's think of it this way. Think of a rushing water.
Yes.
Okay? Rushing water, but the rushing water, it can move things out of the way. It can flip over a canoe. It could do this. It could do that. It could flood a place.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean the water that's rushing is free of debris. It doesn't mean the water that's rushing is not contaminated. It's not polluted. So is that rushing water clean? So someone could speak with the force, with wow, when they said that, it moved me. You know what I mean? I feel empowered to go do this and to go do that because it was so powerful. But was it pure? Was it pure? And some ways that you could know, again, if something is pure, honestly, it still starts with you having a desire within yourself to have a pure heart, to have a clean heart so that you're not swayed by anything, someone's charisma, someone's softness, You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Either or, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you want to be looking for what is pure. And one way to know what is pure is that purity is always true.
Mm.
Purity will be something like, I'll give you an example. Let's say, okay, powerful words, right? Like we had a call last night, and
Mm-hmm.
on the call, it's our high vibration call.
Mm-hmm.
And on that call, somebody shared about the power of the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can talk about the power of the subconscious, and you can have someone stand there and talk about it, and man, you will be moved. You're moved to
Mm-hmm.
believe this and believe that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Powerful, but is it pure?
Mm.
Right? If someone is standing on the stage and they're talking to you about the power of the subconscious, and let's say they're talking to a whole bunch of people who are overweight,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they want to tell you, here's what you got to do. Just see yourself, right? As
Mm-hmm.
as slim,
Mm-hmm.
and just if you believe that you're slim, if you reprogram your subconscious that
Mm-hmm.
you're slim, if you do these visualizations, these affirmations, and
Mm-hmm.
you start training your subconscious to see yourself as slim, you
Mm-hmm.
will be slim.
Mm-hmm.
So those words someone might be like moved to, I'm gonna do a vision board. I'm gonna,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They're moved to
Mm-hmm.
action to start thinking differently about that. I'm gonna look in
Yes.
the mirror every day and tell myself, I'm slim, I'm slim, I'm slim.
Yes.
Powerful, sure, but not pure. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because purity will add into this fact here. Sure, see yourself that way, but the
Yes.
mentality of somebody
Mm.
who is slim, who is fit, who is healthy,
Mm-hmm.
will also choose to not poison their body.
Very good.
So if you're
Yes.
waking up and you're eating donuts, you're smoking cigarettes, you're
Mm-hmm.
drinking, a 40, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
you're eating just like ice cream, and your
Fast
whole
food.
diet
Yeah.
is poison. Your whole diet is
Mm-hmm.
sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you got where you are.
Yes.
Just looking in the mirror and saying, "Oh, I need to reprogram my subconscious to see myself as someone who's slim."
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're moved to go make vision boards and to start doing affirmations every
Mm-hmm.
day,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what you need to be moved to. You need to be moved to
Yes.
a healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So a
Yep.
lot of people would stand up and speak powerfully about, manifestation, and they speak
Mm-hmm.
powerfully about, live a life of abundance and whatever, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How are you budgeting?
Right.
Right? What ground are you sowing your money into? Right?
Right.
What about the understanding to discern a good investment to a not good investment? So just because somebody is speaking things that can move you, and with all their charisma and all of whatever the case
Mm-hmm.
is, and it sounds so good, and you want to now see yourself differently and whatever, but if they're
Mm-hmm.
not speaking the truth to you,
Yes.
it's nothing,
Yeah.
and it will not be sustainable.
Yes.
It will not
Yeah.
be sustainable, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll find yourself, you'll find yourself going good for a while and then
Mm-hmm.
coming into a bigger problem.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, okay, maybe you got slimmer, but then all of a sudden you figure out you're deficient with
Yeah.
nutrients. You find out you
Yes.
have another sort of a problem within you now because
Exactly.
you never focused on being healthy.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Or the same thing
Mm-hmm.
with the money, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
wow, abundant, but then guess what? Um, I don't know, you pass away and there's nothing
Yeah.
left for your children. Everyone
Right.
is struggling. Like, you get what I'm
Right.
saying? There's things that you there's whole thoughts. You get what I'm saying? Pure,
Mm-hmm.
it's complete, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's truthful.
Yes.
So and it's also, when something is pure, it also doesn't benefit you only.
Yes.
You see what I
Exactly.
mean? When
Yeah.
something is pure, it benefits everyone. It
Mm-hmm.
benefits everyone,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah, it
Yeah.
benefits everyone. And when I say it benefits everyone, it doesn't mean that okay, because now you're wealthy, everybody around you is wealthy. No, some people will be wealthy. Some
Mm-hmm.
people will stop mooching and learn how to
Yes.
save, learn how to properly allocate their funds. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when we think everybody around us will be blessed, we think it means that everybody around us will attain what we have without doing
Mm-hmm.
the work. That's not what it
Mm-hmm.
means. It means some people will be blessed by, yes, getting that substance that you have, but others will
Yes.
be blessed by having you as an example for them to
Yes.
be able to implement those things in their life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so good. A few times now we've mentioned a pure heart, and that was one of the things that I, locked into a few times in the video. So, can you talk more about having a pure heart? What does it mean to have a pure heart? How can one have a pure heart? Like,
You go to the store. No, I'm kidding. You go to the store. Um, how can one have a pure heart? Well, my pure heart journey started with just realizing that, you know, my heart wasn't pure. And when
mm,
we say heart, I'm talking really about it's like your subconscious, really and truly,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
is where you would find those deep thoughts, right? The
mm-hmm,
secrets of your heart.
mm-hmm,
It's the things hidden in your subconscious.
yes,
So when someone has a pure heart,
mm-hmm,
subconscious and conscious, their conscience also,
mm, mm-hmm,
right? Their conscience. So when you have a pure heart, like I was saying, my journey started first with realizing that there were thoughts that I was
mm-hmm,
having that
mm-hmm,
wasn't pure, you know?
mm-hmm,
And so instead of denying those thoughts, instead of pretending that they weren't mine, instead of making excuses for them, justifying them, I
mm-hmm,
simply went to Most High with them. I
mm,
simply went to Most High and I said, hey, this is what I found in me. This is what I found in myself.
mm-hmm,
I found jealousy. I found
mm-hmm,
greed. I found selfishness. I
mm-hmm,
found, lack of self-worth. I found
mm-hmm,
guilt. I found shame. I found,
mm-hmm,
right? So every time I find something in
mm-hmm,
myself, whether it's just with me reflecting and meditating and finding it, or in someone else being a mirror and
mm-hmm,
with me judging that person, right?
yes,
Or with them bringing something out in me, a feeling, an
mm-hmm,
emotion. Oh, there's so many ways
mm-hmm,
that you could find things.
yes,
I would
yes,
just bring it to Most High and say, hey, I found this, and help me to understand, like help me to, like, recently I realized, like, there was someone that I had forgiven, and I don't know how it came back, you know? I'm like,
mm-hmm,
but didn't I already forgive that person? Why
mm-hmm,
is it that I'm being bothered by this thing? And so I went back to Most High
mm-hmm,
and I said, hey, maybe I'm having a hard time. Maybe there's something about this that I didn't realize.
mm-hmm,
And very simply, I was shown, like, well, the reason why you pick this thing up again is because there is a tendency, there is a big wave, a powerful
mm,
a powerful voice in this
mm,
system right now that wants people to be victims.
mm,
And so the moment you pick up the victim card again, you pick up with it all of the hurt
mm,
and the this and the that
mm-hmm,
that came along. So it was yeah, it was just very clear to me, like, oh, okay. So because I have been talking so much about
mm-hmm,
what this person had done,
mm-hmm,
because I
mm-hmm,
had been, it's come up many times.
mm-hmm,
So
uh-huh,
now I started identifying again with
yes,
the victim, right?
yes, yes,
Even though I had already overcome that,
mm-hmm,
and released it, is that identifying again with it. And so
yes,
those feelings of unforgiveness or whatever
mm-hmm,
came back with it.
mm-hmm,
And so that's a big thing. When you
mm-hmm,
actually forgive somebody, you're no longer the victim.
Yes.
And every time we decide to slide back into the victimhood, we pick back up everything else that comes along with the victim.
Yeah.
And so again, I had to say, like, okay, Most High, wow, yes, I do not want I love the feeling. I think it's the biggest, it's like, I don't know what to say. It is like the biggest accomplishment to have a pure heart.
Yes. Yes.
I value it more than anything else because it's my peace. It's my like it's my when I stand in that place and I declare or decree something, you know, it's coming with power.
Yes.
It's coming with power because it's coming from a place that's pure. And so I will not trade that shit for nothing. I don't care. Who do I have to forgive? What? Done. Say less. I guard my peace. I guard my purity. No one in this earth, no one outside of earth is worth me losing that. I'm sorry. Ain't happening. I'm not sorry, but ain't gonna happen. You know? And so that's how I started, you know, not being afraid to see anything within myself that wasn't in alignment with Most High, you know, judgments, this, you name it, anything, whatever it is. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard to detect some things because they hide under the cloak of righteousness. They hide under the cloak of godliness. They hide under the cloak of spirituality, under the cloak of good, love. It's not always as obvious as, oh, you know, I have anger, I have hate, I have sometimes it's all of the seemingly nice virtues, you know what I mean? And be hiding up in there. So purity is purity, you know, never be afraid to bring yourself into the light of Most High. Let God search you. I've had times where I just lay there on my bed. I lay there on my bed and I imagine that I'm laying on an operating table in Most High's operating room. And I lay there and I say, Most High, search my entire being from the crown of my head all the way down to the soles of my feet. If you find anything in me that is not of you, anything in me that is wicked, that is, you know, evil, anything in me that is just for self-gain, anything in me that is out of alignment with your will and your purpose for my life, I give you full permission to remove it or to show me how I can let that go. And I ask that with an honest, listen, every single time, and I do this a lot, every single time, Spirit shows me something that's there or something that I need to work on. And it never comes, I said this in the video, it will be conviction with love and grace. It's never shameful. That's why it's like I encourage people to do that, because it's not like a parent that you bring your report card to or your schoolwork to, or a teacher that you bring it to and then they're like, oh, you did this wrong, you wrote that wrong, you didn't do that. That's not how Most High is. You go there in the presence of Most High, whether you lay down, sit, stand, go for a walk, whatever, have that talk. You could do it while you're washing dishes, you know, have that Most High search me, search my inner parts, search my heart, search my subconscious, search me and see if you find anything wicked in me, anything unrighteous in me, show me how to resolve it. Or if you can't, just take it out. Because I remember my first time, I was like, I don't care if I'm gonna be a robot. I want to be a robot for you. I don't care. Because if my thoughts are leading me astray, if all of these pains in my that I've acquired throughout life are causing me to not hear you, I don't want it. I don't care. Just wipe me clear. I just want to be clean. I just want to be clean. I remember there's a scripture that says, who can ascend into the hill of the Lord? He who has clean hands and a pure heart. And from the time I remember I was like 12 when I read that, that was it. I was just like, what? if you want to meet God, you have to have clean hands and a pure heart. From then, from 12 years old, it's been, that is the most important thing. You cannot see God. You cannot commune purely, consistently. You cannot remain in that place. You cannot abide in the awareness if your hands and your heart are not pure. You know? And it doesn't mean that they never get dirty, but it means that you are always cleaning. Because you will. Sometimes you will stumble. Sometimes you'll get caught up in some stuff. But your desire has to be for that not to happen, one. And if it does happen, for you to be clean immediately.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's it. Just have that desire in yourself. That's how it starts. You have to have the desire to be clean, to be pure. And it cannot be based on what purity looks like. Like, you cannot base it on what it look. You can't look at me.
Yes.
You can't look at me and say, well, okay, Yandea is purity. Oh, let me see. Oh, she wears her hair out. Oh, she doesn't do this. She does that. I am not your measure of pure.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to let Most High created you. When Most High created you, you were pure. I didn't create you. Most High created you, you're pure. You have to go back to Most High and say, everything that is in me that you did not put there, remove it. You have to go back to the source. You have to go back to the one who knows the blueprint. You get what I'm saying? That's where you go. Go back to the maker. You know? So that's how I got here. And it's not a how do I say it? It's not like a destination, it's a state of being. You know? And again, it's not that the hands never get dirty and the heart never gets dirty. It's that the purity is in the person's conscious desire to be clean.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I want to be clean, but this situation calls for me changing a diaper. And in that interaction, I have to deal with some dirty things. So I don't want to get dirty.
Yes.
But there is a bigger goal here. And in that bigger goal, I may get a little dirty. My hands may get a little dirty. But God does not view that dirtiness as you becoming unclean in that sense. You get what I'm trying to say? Right? Because your heart, right, your consciousness, your desire is, I want to clean this baby.
Yes, exactly.
And why I'm saying don't look at me is because sometimes we could look at somebody and we will view the outside when we're saying dirty hands. Oh, but there's crap on that hand. No, you're seeing crap on the hand.
Yes, exactly.
You're not understanding that, yes, there's crap on the hand, but the baby's clean.
Yes.
And likewise, you might see a hand that looks spotless.
Yep.
But you don't understand that there's a baby that needs cleaning and that person is refusing to touch the baby.
That's right.
So while you're seeing a hand that looks clean, the heart is more dirty.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why I said we cannot look at other people to have an outward understanding of what it is to be pure. No, purity is not an outward thing. Purity is an inward posture. It's an inward thing. Right? And so you just say, hey, Mosai, you created me. When you created me, I know I was pure and free from all of these pains and hurts and different beliefs and programmings and stuff that I've picked up along the way. You know, it's like factory reset.
Yes.
Factory reset, you know. And sometimes what it is that we have to learn the lessons from the things along the way.
That's it.
Right? And sometimes we go through the things and we don't learn the lesson, or we learn the lesson, but we're still carrying the pain of it. No, just take the lesson, leave the pain, move on. It's next, right? So it's a process, right? It's a process, but that's how I started. That's how I do it. I don't depend on myself to see it because I understand that I have blind spots. Because how can I, the person who is in the mess, how can I,
Mm-hmm.
the person who brought myself into the situation,
Mm-hmm.
see the see the solution if I'm in it?
Yes. Yes.
Right? It's like
Exactly.
how can you wash off
Exactly.
yourself if you're still standing in the mud?
Exactly.
You need someone who's not in the mud
Yeah.
with clean water to
Mm-hmm.
take you out of the mud and then start pouring the water, the clean
Yeah.
water on you, and then
Yes.
you're washing. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And that's what Most High is for me. Most High is that the one who is the consciousness that's not in the level. That's why I say Most High, right? You go to
Mm-hmm.
the Most High. So
Mm-hmm.
Most High is that consciousness that is not in the mess.
Yes.
So if I want someone to clean me, I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
go to other people in the mess.
Yes.
They can't
Exactly.
help me. I need to go to
Exactly.
someone not in the mess.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to friends and people who have the same level of consciousness that
Mm-hmm.
I'm in when I got into the situation. I need
Right.
to go to someone higher than that, someone who's not in
Yes.
it, because they have the bird's eye view to see the way to maneuver to get things
Mm-hmm.
clean,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well said. That is like something for all of us. Well, I'll speak for myself, something for me to take and work with. So I do appreciate you sharing that.
You're welcome, bro.
Hmm. Um, okay, so you said intuition is only as clear as the system it's flowing through. And you mentioned the voices in your nervous system. Could you speak a bit more about the voices of the nervous system?
Wow. That's like, that could be an episode all on its own.
Hold on, it's oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I do a lot of work with the nervous system. I do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work with helping people, release traumas and
Mm-hmm.
um through, Abama flow and all of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so our body, well, there's this, where do I start? Because you have the mind, you have the actual nerves, you have the
Mm-hmm.
organs, you have everything. We are so much more connected. You have the invisible, you have the emotions, and
Yes.
these emotions that we have will literally have a physical effect
Mm-hmm.
on our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes there is a situation where, let's say, okay, is a person is all happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
To go
Mm-hmm.
to an event. They're
Mm-hmm.
all happy to go to an event. And then all of a sudden someone's coming, is like, you know, yeah, I'm so glad it's right by the dog park, the location, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's right between the dog park and the I don't know, and the grocery store. That
Mm-hmm.
location we're
Mm-hmm.
going to, right, for this event.
Yeah.
It's right between that.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy. One person's like, you know what? Something's telling me just don't go to that place. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure. I don't really want to go to that place. And
Mm-hmm.
then, I have a gut feeling like, nah, something bad is gonna happen there. Something bad's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, spirit. So now they want to convince people, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I feel,
Mm-hmm.
spirit is telling me don't go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spirit is telling me don't go.
Yeah.
And then so maybe some people listen and they don't go.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some people decide, let's have a deeper conversation with this
Mm-hmm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then in the deeper conversation, you find out they may say something like, yeah, plus it's beside a dog park. And then you may say, what's your problem with the dog park? Man, when I was little, I saw this person get eaten up by a dog. I don't go anywhere
Mm-mm.
near dogs. You see what I'm saying? Now
Wow.
you start getting to, oh, so you were fine with the location
Mm-hmm.
until you heard it was near a dog park.
Right.
And when you heard it was near a dog park, the fear, the
Yes.
trauma that you
Yes.
experienced when you were little, seeing
Yes.
someone get eaten by a dog that you never
Mm-hmm.
resolved, that
Yes.
is still held up in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever someone mentions to go near dogs,
Yes.
you get a gut feel. Yes, it is a gut
Yes.
feeling. Yes, it's in your body. You may feel chills. You
Mm-hmm.
may feel something deep happening. That's your nervous
Mm-hmm.
system telling
Mm-hmm.
you, oh hell no, if you want to live,
Mm-hmm.
you, and it could speak. It
Yep.
could say like, go there and you'll get eaten up too, right? It
Wow.
could say a lot of
Wow.
things. And
Yep.
because you're unaware that this is all because of that one incident that you have not
Mm-hmm.
resolved in your system, you
Mm-hmm.
haven't let it go. You are so totally unaware. I
Mm.
mean, watch this. It controls you so much to the point of where there'll be a bunch of people and someone says, oh, let's sit at that table. Let's sit at
Mm.
this other table. And
Mm.
someone is wearing a shirt and the shirt has a
Mm-hmm.
puppy on it. The shirt has
Mm-hmm.
a dog on it. Just someone
Yes.
at the
Yep.
table. And you're like, nah, I don't feel like sitting there. Let's go over there.
Yep.
You did not even realize that
Yep.
person was wearing a dog shirt,
Yes.
but your subconscious mind is in there and it got
Yep.
picked because we're always picking up information all the time,
Yes.
things that we're
Yeah.
not even aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're thinking, oh, spirit told me not
Yes.
to sit at that table.
Yep.
I'm feeling in my gut, we should be over there.
Yes.
Meanwhile, it's because this person here is wearing a dog shirt, and in your mind, you
Mm-hmm.
saw it, but you didn't, it wasn't conscious, but you saw it.
Mm.
And you have a programming in your system that says anytime we see a dog, avoid, because
Mm.
dogs mean death.
Mm.
Dogs
Yes.
are bad. Dogs mean pain. It's
Yes.
in there.
Yeah.
So your body is trying to protect you and keep you safe. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't take control and put everything in its right place,
Yes.
like for example, go back to that situation when the person got, you know, hurt by the dog.
Yeah.
What kind of dog was it? Was the
Mm-hmm.
dog just running wild? Was the dog
Right.
off leash, right? Like the
Right.
person, did that person jump the fence into a place
Right.
where they shouldn't have gone and got
Right.
all of these things? You look at all the
Right.
factors.
Yes.
And when you go back, you're like, wait a minute, that sign said, do not enter, beware of dogs. The
Yes.
ball went over the fence. The
Mm-hmm.
person didn't see the dog, thought that they could get it quick enough. The dog was
Yeah.
right there. They jumped over the
Yes.
fence, got the ball. The dog got them. So
Yes.
that dog was in a contained area, confined
Mm-hmm.
area. There was a sign, everything was
Mm-hmm.
there. That person went beyond the limit
Yes.
and they got harmed.
Yeah.
So if you go back over the event,
Yeah.
then you realize, wait a minute, I don't have to fear dogs because,
Exactly.
yes, dogs can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that dog that did that
Yeah.
was contained, confined, and it happened because of XYZ,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Most times
Yeah.
when we go through traumatic things, because we're so shocked by the event, we don't take the time to look at all the other factors and variables around it. And so we just
Yes.
immediately form a belief, right?
Yes.
In that moment, dogs are
Yeah.
dangerous, avoid dogs, they eat people.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Not dogs can be dangerous. You should always obey those signs. If someone tells you
Mm-hmm.
that do
Mm-hmm.
not jump fences,
Mm-hmm.
don't go into places where they say beware of dogs, right? All of
Exactly.
these things, that's
Exactly.
what you should be telling yourself.
Yes.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yep.
that's just one example. There's so many things we've experienced in life that
Mm-hmm.
our body has said, this will harm you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do not do this. If you do it, you might die. You might be
Mm-hmm.
hurt. You will cry. You will this, you will that.
Mm-hmm.
And we never resolve these things. So we're just housing them in our body.
Yes.
And so anytime we encounter anything, whether we
It's in
realize it
there.
or not, it
Mm-hmm.
speaks. Our nervous system
Mm-hmm.
speaks to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, before you know it, and the thing about it is that it also works both ways, right? Because you can, let's say, encounter a time where um let's say there was a person who helped someone
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and it was a good thing. And then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, people like this are always, always so wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
so trustworthy, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so now later on in life, you encounter someone like that person
Mm-hmm.
and they say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you know what? Lend me $500 and I'll pay you back tomorrow.
Yes.
And that memory of, oh, people
Yes.
like that are always trustworthy.
Yeah.
So now you have no defenses.
Hmm.
And you're like, you know what? I feel a peace.
Yeah.
That person came along and I feel a
Yeah.
peace about them. Why? Because you
Yes.
already associated those people with peace.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
when that person comes along, your nervous system is already relaxed and at ease.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
Mm-hmm.
they ask you for seems okay.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you would have had some sort of experience in the past where someone asked you for
Mm-hmm.
money and they never paid you back, you'd have to have
Exactly.
something negative to trigger that. But if you never had
Exactly.
that, oh, can I borrow $500? Sure. And you'd be like, spirit told me I could trust them.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
your nervous system told you you could trust them,
Yes. Yes.
not spirit. So we
Yes.
are constantly being programmed and programming ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
some of it is conscious and some of it is unconscious, but it is
Mm-hmm.
in our unconscious mind, it's in our nervous system.
Yeah.
And it speaks, it tells you to do things, it tells you to not do things also.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just one-sided, it tells you both things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes it could be true,
Yeah.
sometimes it may not be true,
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, because this is one of the few areas where it's both physical and non-physical. You know what I mean? Even
Mm-hmm.
like when you mention like your gut says this, your gut says that, like I think of like the biome and the health of the biome, like, and I wonder if they're connected in any way, like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
well, that's a whole thing too, because remember, um, different bacteria, they will speak through your gut
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
literally tell your mind the things that they desire in order for them to survive, right? They
yes,
communicate through the vagus nerve. Like, if
yes,
these bacteria in your gut need more sugar
mm-hmm,
in order for them to continue to multiply, they
right,
literally communicate to you that they need
wow,
more sugar. So now
wow,
you're walking around the place and I'm just feeling, you know what? Yes, feeling for sugar. You know what? I really feel in my gut, that I should go to this place and
mm-hmm,
order this thing and
mm-hmm,
have that thing. Is it
exactly,
you? No, it's the bacteria in your gut that are
exactly,
literally telling you what they need to eat.
exactly,
Listen, this is a serious thing. The amount
mm,
of voices, communicating
mm,
all the time.
wow, wow,
So again, powerful words, but what is the purity?
mm,
Make
mm-hmm,
sure that you control those bacterias in
mm-hmm,
your body so that you're not
mm-hmm,
being led astray by the
yes,
parasites
yes,
and the bacteria in your
exactly.
body.
Facts.
Also know for a fact that there can be parasites and bacteria in the body.
That's
So
right.
now that I know that, what are the things that these things desire to eat?
Yes.
And now I could say, well, if I just get a random craving for this or that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it might mean that I have these things are screaming at me for that
Mm-hmm.
food.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. You have to be like, why would you be craving that? Why would you want that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's questioning the voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Questioning the voice. Is this,
Yeah.
if I do this thing, what is the benefit to it? Is this love? Is this, what is the fruit of doing this thing?
Mm-hmm.
What is the fruit of this? If I go and I buy, and I eat 2 boxes of donuts, what is the
Mm-hmm.
fruit of that? That's gonna
Yes.
give me yeast. It's gonna suppress my immune system. It's
Yep.
gonna do all, is Most High really telling me go and eat two
Right.
boxes of donuts? Like, is that
Right.
really what's happening here? There are
Right.
many ways, right? If you
Yeah.
question the spirit,
Mm-hmm.
test the spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. You had mentioned something about instinct versus interference, and I didn't really know what you meant by that. Do you remember that part?
Give me a little bit more.
Um, you were saying,
Instinct versus interference. well, if I said interference, it would be probably like more in terms of like distortion, you know, like interference, you know, like something being distorted. So
Right.
um sometimes, oh boy, let me think of an example for that. So um sometimes when you have a situation, I need to think of a good example for that. Let me see if there's one I could reference from what we used earlier. But sometimes when you have a, let's say, oh, I'm getting called on my Telegram. Hold on, let me just end it. This is
Yeah, it was connected to healing the
interference.
interference. Exactly.
Yes. 1 second.
It was connected to healing the voices of your nervous system.
Mhm.
And it was saying, about knowing the difference between instinct and interference.
Okay. So I think it's kind of like what we talked about right there, in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
your natural, give me 1 second, Duane.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No problem.
I think people aren't used to me being on the live so early.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't turn off certain things. Okay. So interference.
Yeah.
But okay.
There you
In
go.
Yeah, really rebel talking about it. Okay, so
Exactly.
let me see. So what were you saying? You were saying you asked me about, okay, the nervous system, and
Mm-hmm.
then okay. So your instincts,
It's like if you've never healed the voices
yeah,
in your
so your
nervous system, how
instincts,
can you know the
yeah,
difference?
because your instincts is sort of like, if you want to have a pure instinct,
Mm-hmm.
it's like having pure intuition.
Mm. Okay.
So, right, it's
Yeah.
the same thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you see, back to the dog. That's what I was saying. Let me think if I could find something that we
Mm-hmm.
already used.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to
Yeah.
the dog. Um, your instinct
Mm-hmm.
will tell you, um, run, right? If
Mm-hmm.
it's not pure,
Mm-hmm.
if it's not
Mm-hmm.
pure. Just like
If it's
someone
not
would
true.
say, so back to that, literally that example,
Yes.
someone is going to an event, and then
Mm-hmm.
they could say, instead of saying my intuition, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they'll say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, their instinct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to
Mm-hmm.
not go there because,
Yes.
but the interference would be the same as the distortion. The distortion is
Yes.
that that's not a pure instinct.
Yes.
So you can't just follow your instincts. No, you can't
Yes.
just follow your gut. No, you can't just
Mm-hmm.
follow your intuition. No, because
Mm-hmm.
they have been distorted.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying now? So
Mm-hmm.
a pure instinct, I should have said pure instinct, right? A
Yes.
pure instinct versus, the distortion, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're talking about there.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. That makes sense.
Because the interference is what's causing it not to be pure.
Yes.
That's what the interference is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is this
Mm-hmm.
is this a pure instinct? Is this pure
Mm-hmm.
intuition? Is this
Mm-hmm.
real gut?
Yes.
Or is there something interfering in there that's
Yes.
twisting,
Yes.
that's twisting
Exactly.
my perception
Yeah.
of what I should do, or whatever the case is. So we have
Exactly.
to be able to see that and to detect those things within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Facts. Yes. Okay, so you talked about discernment, discernment being built through intimacy with Most High. Like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned like a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual calibration,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh,
So
I love
that intimacy.
it.
Huh? What did you say?
I'm like, yes, I love it. That was like my favorite part.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's so good. Um, can you talk more about that? Yeah.
About discernment and
Yeah, like
recalibration.
how, because it's almost like a catch 22 in a way. It might not be, but I'm just seeing it this
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
where it's like you haven't healed through certain things. And because you haven't healed through certain things, your perception is off. And so, how does one develop this intimate relationship with Most High with all of the distortion that they're also dealing with? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, okay, let's take it out from the spiritual and bring
Yes.
it, into spiritual, but here,
Mm-hmm.
right, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, think of how do you develop intimacy with a person,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's say
Spending
this way.
time.
Let's go to parents and child, right?
Yes.
You have
Mm-hmm.
some parents that um they hardly see their children. They hardly
Yes.
spend time with their children. You
Yeah.
have some children that even if their parents are available, they hardly spend time with their
Yes.
parents. They don't ask their
Yes.
parents questions. They don't, play with their parents. They don't learn from their parents. Nothing. They
Yes.
have no interest in building a
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
So we're in the place now where Most High is a parent. Let's say it that way
Mm-hmm.
for the analogy. Most High is
Mm-hmm.
a parent that wants to
Yes.
impart wisdom, knowledge, love,
Yes.
everything, right?
Yes.
And we are the children. We
Yes.
are the children that are busy playing, or
Mm-hmm.
we're on screens or whatever
Mm-hmm.
we're doing. We're eating
Mm-hmm.
candies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have no interest in what the parent wants to share,
Mm.
wants to
Mm-hmm.
impart.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about building intimacy, right, with
Yes.
Most High, well,
Yes.
what would be the benefit? Let me show you. If you have
Right.
one child
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't know their parent,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know their parent, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have another child that
Mm-hmm.
spends all this time with their parent,
Mm-hmm.
mommy, why did you do this? Daddy, why did you do
Mm-hmm.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you like this more than this? Why do you like that more
Mm-hmm.
than that?
Mm-hmm.
What did you always want to be this when you grew up? Did you
Mm-hmm.
always want to,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think I
Mm-hmm.
should do about this? What do you think I should do about that? And then
Mm-hmm.
they just spend time playing, they spend time fixing some things, they spend
Mm-hmm.
time all throughout having conversation, learning everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that child has an intimate relationship with their parent.
Yes.
The other child doesn't. Okay.
Right.
Let's put both children. Both children go for a walk,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's fire. Okay. There's
Mm-hmm.
fire on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And a stranger approaches both of the children.
Mm-hmm.
And a stranger says, hey, follow me this way. And
Mm-hmm.
your mom and dad sent me to get
Mm-hmm.
you. They
Yeah.
said, follow me this way and,
Yeah.
come into this black van
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I'll take you to safety.
Right. Right.
One child doesn't have any intimacy with their parent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they don't know
Yes.
if that's something their parent would say or
Would
not.
do. Yes.
The
Mm-hmm.
other child says, well, I just had a conversation with mom and dad. And I remember them
Mm-hmm.
telling me, if I'm ever in danger or if I ever
Mm-hmm.
see fire, I should
Mm-hmm.
call them. And
Mm-hmm.
they gave me a cell phone.
Right.
And I remember one time dad telling me about a situation where there was a child who got kidnapped
Mm-hmm.
in a black van,
Right.
right? So this situation seems to me like this is a man trying to kidnap me and put me into that
Mm-hmm.
black van.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
dad and mom, they did give me a cell phone and they told me if I
Yes.
ever see fire, I should call.
Yes.
So the thing for me to do right now is to
Mm-hmm.
call,
Yes.
because during that intimacy, I learned what
Yes.
my parent sounds like. I
Mm-hmm.
learned their voice.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key. When you build intimacy with Most High, you get to hear the voice of Most High. You get to
Right.
learn, you get to feel what the love of Most High feels like, know what the voice
Mm-hmm.
does. Do you
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? In there, I
Yeah.
also mentioned the voice of Most High is never coming with some urgency and fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
when that situation comes, that man is going to say, hurry, hurry, get into my van. Your parents told me to
Yes.
come get you. Hurry,
Yes.
hurry, get into my van.
Yes.
And that
Mm-hmm.
child, when they replay the memory of their parents
Mm-hmm.
talking, it's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
hey, if there's ever a fire, you're ever in danger, first thing I
Yeah.
want you to do, get your cell phone, call me. If anyone's
Exactly.
around telling you get into a black van, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's gonna come calm. It's gonna direct you and move you in, right, into safety.
Yes.
I have had times where I have been in terribly dangerous situations. There was a time I got into a car accident. I was crossing over a green light and someone ran the light, and they were going full speed because they came off the highway and they were going full speed, and they hit my car, and my son was behind me. It's a whole story, but my son was his car seat was behind me, and I usually never put his car seat behind me. I always put it in a diagonal so I could pass him his bottle, pass him stuff. And this time, for whatever reason, I put his car seat directly behind me. When the place that the people hit was the side where my son would have been.
Yes.
And so I remember when I got hit, I heard a voice. And the voice said to me, I mean, imagine my car is getting hit and my car is now starting to spin. And I heard a voice, and the voice said, "Get the baby out of the car." Just like that. Calm. No panic.
Yes.
Get the baby out of the car. And when I heard the voice, like power came into me. Like, I don't know, power came, the voice was so calm. Power came into my body. I literally was wearing stilettos that day, gold stilettos, because I had come from church. And I heard the voice say, "Get the baby out of the car." And as soon as I heard the voice, it's like I just got, nothing was in my mind that said, "You can't get the baby out. The car is spinning." It was just like, done. And I just had the ability in myself, no fear, nothing, only calmness and execution. I opened my door and I started to come out the car, and I realized, why can't I come out the car? I still had my seatbelt on. That's how fast. And then I took out my seatbelt and I came out the car. The car was still moving. I opened the back door, and I was literally moving with the car. I took the baby out. I got the baby out. The car kept turning and then hit the pole behind me.
Wow.
Literally, I have people who witnessed this. Okay.
Wow. Yep.
And I don't worry about the rest because I did cuss the person off. Being real. Did the voice of God tell me that? Hell no.
Yes.
But
Facts.
I was in the moment. I was so, it was such a moment of, I can't believe this person almost killed us. Because, and I remember when the car hit the pole, there was stuff like draining out of the car, and a man came and he just swooped my son and I off, and he was like, "Get away from the car, get away from the car," because it was gonna like blow up or something because it slammed into the pole. And but I remember just, telling the person, like, "Where the F are you going? That's so important that you could take this life." And I was holding my son, that you would take this innocent life, because I knew for a fact that the place where my son usually sits is where this vehicle hit us. So I know my son would have been like very much injured. You know what I mean? If he'd been alive, right? So the point though is that in that situation, the voice was so calm, nothing of urgency, just strong, firm, powerful, no panic. Get the baby out of the car. And all I know is just power just entered my body. Power, no fear, no, not even rush. It was just execution. It was just full faith. Sure.
Wow.
Moving and just, and, I remember the people after, like the man, he brought me into his vehicle, and him and his wife, they saw the whole thing. They actually are the ones who stayed behind and gave the whole, because I got whisked away to the hospital and ambulance and stuff. But they're the ones who stayed back and gave the whole testimony and everything, the police officers and all of that stuff. But what happened before that and what happened after that, that's a whole other episode, right?
Yes.
But it's situations like this, right, that teach me about the voice. I have seen things, and never, ever, ever, ever. And I've been in situations, and never, ever, ever has the voice of God ever been panicked.
Yes. Yeah.
It's always so calm, always so
Yes.
just everything's under control. No
Mm-hmm.
fear, no panic.
Mm-hmm.
So if I ever have that fear or panic, I know that's not God. I know because I know what
Yes.
God's voice is like. It's not
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? That's me. You know, that's
Exactly.
part of self, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I
Mm-hmm.
think the more time you spend with
Mm-hmm.
Most High, the more intimate
Mm-hmm.
you are by spending more time. And when I say spend
Mm-hmm.
more time, I have a whole video on practicing the presence of Most High,
Mm-hmm.
practicing the
Mm-hmm.
presence of God, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yep.
always in, I am in a continual conversation. Even while we're doing this, there was when you asked me
Yes.
that question about I was trying to remember the instinct and the
Yes.
whatever. You're asking me, and I
Yes.
couldn't remember, and I was just talking to Most High right here on the
Mm-hmm.
live. And then the
Mm-hmm.
thing was ringing, and I was still
Yep.
saying, okay, I was laughing into friends, but I was saying, Most High, what's really going on right here?
Mm-hmm.
The whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always
Mm-hmm.
talking to Most High. I'm always seeking to be in alignment.
Yeah.
Things are happening, but let me find the center. The wind will
Mm-hmm.
blow, find the center, find the center.
Mm-hmm.
That's intimacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always seek to be in alignment in your
Yes.
everyday life. It doesn't matter. You're
Mm-hmm.
making love, you're even when I swore at that woman and I said,
Mm.
where the F are you going? That is so important that you will take this
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yeah.
Even while I was feeling that
Yes.
that anger
Anger.
within me,
Mm-hmm.
I was still seeking to find
Mm-hmm.
my center,
Yes.
because I could have done a lot more and I could have said a lot more. But I could feel the swaying. I could feel it
Yes.
right
Yes.
now. Yeah, I could reach through this vehicle and mash up
Mm-hmm.
this person's, because I just saw my
Mm-hmm.
child almost die by someone
Of course.
racing through the light had been red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just like the carelessness, right?
Yeah.
So I was feeling that I was beyond mother hen. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you see
Mm-hmm.
hens will literally want to peck out the eyes of people for trying
Facts.
to mess with their
Mess with
chicks.
their chicks.
So
Yeah.
I was in mother hen mode.
Mode.
And I had to sway back to remember, oh yeah, that's one of Most High's children too. But
Exactly.
yeah, trust me,
Mm-hmm.
But we
Mm-hmm.
talked about that thing, right? The clean hands, the pure heart. That's that just swing
Yes.
on right back
Yeah.
in. But
Yes.
anyways, so it's real. You
Yeah.
have to know, what does your mother and father sound like?
Mm-hmm.
What are
Mm-hmm.
their what are they imparting into you? What have they imparted into you? The
Yes.
truth, the law, the this,
Yes.
that, the
Yeah.
boundaries, the everything.
Mm-hmm.
Learn the same way, you think of an earthly parent that is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to teach you how to be in the world. You have a so-called heavenly
Yeah.
parent, you
Yeah.
know, that can teach you how to be in the world,
That's
you
right.
know? And so
That's
that's
right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very well said.
Dwayne, you had a
That's
whole bunch of questions. I didn't, you did your homework, bro. You were like, oh
thorough.
yeah,
Thorough.
you're gonna reason.
Yep.
You're
Right.
in it.
We're
You're in
gonna
it.
do this. We're gonna get in there.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Did I come prepared?
yeah. All you
I'm
have to do
prepared.
is
Just
be
talk about it.
be
Yeah.
connected. That's it. Which you already are. You always are. So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last thing that I guess we can touch on here, is you talked about this was in the area where it was about like the marketplace of just all different kinds of
Mhm.
spiritual, things, whatever. And like you talked about this thing of like it's masked as like love and liberation, but it's like a distortion of or a mixture of all these different things kind of put together and
Mhm.
called spirituality. And that resonated with me. Like I immediately, the term that came to mind was like toxic spirituality. I don't know if that's an actual term, but that's what came. And it resonated with me because I found myself pulling away from certain people and certain communities at certain times because it felt cloudy, like there was too many things mixed in. And I wasn't sure of what was like, certain things were pure or right, or whether they weren't. And like, all these different kinds of things are mixed in together and packaged as spiritual, and something that can seem very liberating to someone can actually be dangerous. So I just wanted to like hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, how can someone be even sure that their spirituality is pure in that way and that it's not mixed in with all these different
Mhm.
distorted perspectives?
Well, I think it kind of the only way to know, um,
Mm-hmm,
I'll give you this, right?
mm-hmm,
This is the issue. When people are doing this awakening thing, right?
mm-hmm,
They
mm-hmm.
always run to outside themselves. The majority of
Yes,
people run outside themselves.
yes,
But
yes.
here's the thing.
Let's
All
talk
the
into
things
that.
outside yourself are
Mm-hmm,
physical things.
mm-hmm,
The only thing that is spirit is you.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you have access to yourself.
Yes.
So if we're saying that we're spiritual, but we don't know ourselves when we are the spirit, when we are spirit, then it makes
Exactly.
no sense. How can you be
Exactly.
spiritual and you don't know spirit, which is you?
Yes. Yes.
How can you be spiritual and you think your body?
Yeah.
How can you be spiritual and you're looking to do all of these things outside of
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
when to be spiritual would be to understand who you are and
Mm-hmm.
how you can operate in this flesh, how you can
Mm-hmm.
operate in this material, how
Mm-hmm.
you, the spirit, can operate in this material world,
Yes. Yes.
right? How you,
Yeah.
the spirit, can fully be in this body and
Mm-hmm.
master it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How you, the spirit,
Yeah.
understands what emotions are and masters it.
Yeah.
So being spiritual is self mastery.
Yes.
That's what it is to be spiritual,
Yes.
self mastery. You understand self, which is spirit, so
Mm-hmm.
much to the point where you operate from your true self
Yeah.
in a material world
Yes.
with this physical body.
Yes.
So when we're looking at, so back to like, how do you know? Anything that's calling you outside yourself is pretty much
Mm-hmm.
not spiritual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything that calls you outside of yourself
Mm-hmm.
is not, because where
Mm.
is most high? Most high is within.
Yes.
We are the
Yes.
temple of the most high. Anything
Yes.
that says you need to come to me over here to find me,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
spiritual.
Yes.
Now there is like there's a scripture where Yeshua talks about be wise money changers, right? Being a wise money
Mm-hmm.
changer.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about that is, if you're a person who is um going to exchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
Currency.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a currency exchange person and you
Mm-hmm.
bring me, oh hey, I'd like to give you this gold and I want you to exchange it into silver
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
me, right?
Mm-hmm.
What abilities do I need to have? Because that's what we're talking about right now. The world is
Yes.
giving me something, and I need to be able to see if that something is real,
Yeah. Has any value.
it has any value, to
Yeah.
be able to convert it into, to make sense, to apply to
Yes.
my life. How do I
Yes.
know what I should take and not take, whatever the case is? The
Mm-hmm.
only way when you bring me your gold that I
Mm-hmm.
could know if it's real is I
Mm-hmm.
have to know what real gold is.
Exactly.
If I don't have an idea of the counterfeit bill or the counterfeit
Mm-hmm.
block and the real block,
Mm-hmm.
then whatever you bring me, you may be bringing me I don't know, rocks covered in gold nail polish, right?
Facts.
So
Facts.
you may be bringing me rocks covered in nail polish and I'm like,
Yes.
oh wow, perfect,
Mm-hmm.
taking all your rocks, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, here's all the silver.
Yes.
So I just fell for a scheme.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I just fell for a
Yeah.
scheme. So you need to first be able to have the real thing. The only way you're going to know if what's coming at you is false or not is that
Yeah.
you have to have at least one real stone. You have to have at least one real piece of silver, at least one real piece of gold, at least one real note, so that you could compare what's coming and be like,
Yeah.
well, this is what the real bill looks like. It
Yes.
feels like this, it looks like this, it has this security mark. Let me look at this thing, missing it, doesn't have that. You get what I'm saying? You have to compare. But what if you don't even have a real?
Right.
And what I'm saying is that you can never find a real thing outside of yourself.
Yes.
God is so good that God said, I am making you in my image and likeness. You see, like God said, I am making you
Yes.
in my image and likeness.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
sort of, kind of.
Yes.
We are
Yeah.
perfectly made in the image and likeness of God. So if you want to know what God looks like, you have to know what you look like.
Yes.
Because once you know what you look like, what you
Yes.
truly look like, without all the
Yes.
layers, without all of the programming, once you know what you truly look like, the one who was made in the image and likeness of God, then you could know what God looks like. God looks like me.
Yes.
The problem is what most people call me is not the true image and likeness of who they are. It is all of the programming, all of the pain, all of the issues, all of the drama.
Yeah.
So what you're calling you is the problem.
Yes.
You're calling you all like something, okay, oh, who are you? I'm a doctor. That's not who you are. That's what you do. You get what I'm saying?
Facts.
So most people don't know who they are. They identify with the things that they've done. They identify with their pain. They identify with gender. They identify with all of these things except for I am spirit, image and likeness of Most High. That's it. So once you have a clear understanding, because even if I say, oh, here, Duane, here's a job, I'm giving you this is the real bill, and anybody who comes, you, Duane, have to spend time, you have to spend time analyzing that bill. So that you know it like the back of your hand.
And out.
So that if someone brings something, you're like, nope, that's not it.
Yep.
How do we spend time knowing ourselves to know like the image and likeness of God? So most people, spiritual awakening, they run outside, they run to all the fake stuff. But the only way you could know is by going within to knowing yourself. When you know yourself, the one made in the image and likeness of Most High, then anytime something comes to you, you're like, nope. Then you could say that don't resonate. Not that that doesn't resonate with my trauma, or that doesn't resonate with my pain. No, that doesn't resonate with the spirit of God. The image and likeness of Most High, who I am. That does not resonate. That's it. Anything else, anyone else who leads you outside of that is bullshitting you. Real facts. Misleading you. They may not realize it because they may have gotten misled themselves. But that is the absolute factual thing. You have to know yourself. And who you are is you are the image and likeness of Most High. That is who you are. If you can't see that, if when you're looking, you're seeing pain, trauma, judgment, guilt, bias, you keep looking. Keep looking until you find. Keep looking until you find. And until you find, you have nothing to you have nothing to work with. So it is the most important thing. That's all anyone should be doing. That's all of us, that's all we should be doing. If you're on a spiritual journey, you want to find yourself here and there and everywhere. No, sit your backside down. Sit down and know who you are. Stop running everywhere. Sit down, go into meditation, into prayer, and let it be, Most High, help me to see you in me. Help me to see who
Mm-hmm.
you made me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Help me to strip away all of the things that are masking you inside of this temple. That is it. That is it. And you keep there and you stay there and you stay there and you stay there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
spiritual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But,
Yeah.
you know, okay, that is
So
it for today. That's it for Duane. I feel like we'll be here. Okay, that is
no,
it.
I know that was my last question. Yeah, no, it's so important though because it's like people sometimes, oftentimes, especially nowadays, the spiritual awakening is triggered by something that maybe starts externally,
Yeah,
a video that somebody met, a person that they ran into, a community, of this, of that. And
yeah,
then it's so easy to get caught up in that thing as like the template for what it looks like instead of, like you said, like going within and finding that thing within and knowing that thing and being so sure of that so that anything else that comes, you know what to qualify it with. If you didn't do that, like, if you didn't start there, well, we can always start now, you know what I mean? Like you can always begin.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there's a scripture. I'm gonna not quote it exactly, but
mhm,
I'll try to find it after this and post it up there.
mhm,
Maybe remind me. But there's
mhm.
a scripture that says, like when that time comes when we like see Christ, right? It says
Mhm,
something like
mhm,
we will be known, we will know him and be known by him because
mhm.
as he is, so are we in the world.
Yes, yes, yeah, I
Right?
know that.
And so many people who have rushed outside of themselves to religion, including
Yeah.
Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
cannot say that I am in
Yeah.
this world as Christ is.
Yes. Yep.
Christ just exists on the outside. You get what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yep.
But they don't have that oneness of, yeah, I see
Mm-hmm.
Christ, but
Mm-hmm.
when I see Christ, I see me.
Yes.
When I
Exactly.
look at me, I see Christ because when Christ looks at me, Christ sees
Yeah.
me.
Yes.
There is a oneness. I
Yep.
am in this world as Christ is. I am Christ in this world.
Yes.
They will
Yeah.
literally say that these words I just said are blasphemy, but there's
Yep.
no other way to interpret that scripture in truth other than what I just said.
That's it.
So
That's it.
again, you have to be able to come to that place where you see that your image, when you look at
Mm-hmm.
yourself in the divine mirror, the
Mm-hmm.
only image you're supposed to see is God. Why?
Yeah.
Because we are created in the image and
Mm-hmm.
likeness of God. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
created in the image and likeness of God, what other image am I supposed to see
This is it.
but God?
This is it.
That's it. So on
Yeah.
that note, on that note,
Mm-hmm.
you can catch episode number 2. What will episode number 2 be? Let me see. Let me do a quick look. Episode number 2, is that God or my fear?
Mm.
That God or my fear.
Yeah.
Episode 2 will be posted on next Tuesday, and we
Yes.
will meet back here on Thursday live. And what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna place under the video, um, every time I post a video, which will be every Tuesday, I
Mm-hmm.
will also include under in the maybe in the comment section, actually, I'll pin it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
pin in the comment section when we will be doing the live because
Yes.
Dwayne's schedule is a little bit up and down. Sometimes he's
Mm-hmm.
done in the morning, sometimes in the evening, sometimes at
Mm-hmm.
night. So, like today, we are doing it early because he's not going to
Yeah.
be done work till late tonight. So,
Yeah.
what I will do, you're just going to flow with us, right? We're family,
Yeah.
we're good. We all know what it's like up in the system, right?
Yeah.
So, under every video, which will be posted every Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
in the comment section, I will pin the
The
time
time.
for the live. So if you want to get more, you can just hop in at the live on that time. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, and maybe in the evening, whatever the case is, I will put it there and you
Exactly.
can hop onto the live where we talk some additional things, share deeper, and just learn more, vibe with each other, reason together. Okay.
This is it.
Yes. So also, if you would like to be part of the discussions, you can be. You just have to let us know below whichever video it is that you want to hop in on the live on, and we will
Mm.
let you know how to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So love you all and See you next time on Come Let Us Reason Together. This is how you know. Okay?
This is how you
Bye-bye.
know. Bye.